اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي ورضيت لكم الإسلام دينا.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله، وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، فإن كل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. فيا ربي حمدا ليس غيرك يحمد، ويا من له كل الخلائق تصمد. لك الحمد كل الحمد، لا مبدأ له ولا منتهى، والله بالحمد أجدر. وأصلي وأسلم على من بعثه الله بالحق، نبينا وحبيبنا وقدوتنا محمد بن عبد الله، عليه أفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم. وبعد. We praise Allah, for indeed all praises are due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Lord of the world, He who has created all creations without the help of anyone. And then again, at the same material moment, we send peace and salutation upon the masterpiece, the seal of prophethood, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, his household, his companions, and all of those who shall follow their righteous guided path to the day of accountability. Having said that, brothers and sisters in Iman, we today happen to be the Saturday, and that is 28th of Zulqa'dah, 1444, 1444 years after the greatest of all migration by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam from Mecca to Medina, and that corresponds to the 17th day of June 2023 with the Gregorian calendar, and that is the Miladiyah, the birth of Christ, if that is actually authentic. We ask Allah to grant us success. As we are aware of, on Saturdays, we have made it a point to have in between this session, between Maghrib and Isha, to have the Aqeedah class. And then the book that we have been using is Al-Farqu Bayna Aqeedatu Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah wa Aqeedatu Ahl Bid'ah wal Ahwa, Ta'alif Sheikh Dawood Nuh Salih, Hafidhahullah. We ask Allah to protect and guide him, and then give him long life with all good health. If brothers and sisters could recall, we ended about where the Mu'allif, on the first introduction, I think we have started to introduce the book saying that it has 3 different introductions, but then this is the first copy, and the first copy happened to have those, or have captured those introductions that has been made by the author himself. And like we said and always want to repeat, he is actually out of tour. He is currently living. We ask Allah to have to protect him and guide him and grant him good health with long life. Here we are to continue where he ended from the last time, where he schooled, and then what impacted him to have commenced or to try to put something after he has undergone a lot of consultation from his friends and then colleagues in terms of what? Seeking of Islamic knowledge. And that is apparently what we ended the other time and the other form of discussion. Now he continues, he says that فَقَدْ تَأَثَّرْتُ بِمَنْهَجِ أَهْلِ السُنَّةِ وَالْجَمَاعَةِ فِي خِلَالِ وُجُودِي فِي تِلْكَ الْجَامِعَةِ فَكُنْتُ دَائِمًا أركز على دعوة المسلمين بالرجوع إلى كتاب الله وسنة رسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم في الأمور دينهم وخصوصا فيما يتعلق بالعقيدة. He says that I have been impacted so much so that when it comes to the calling, maybe the school that he attended, we said that is Jamiat Al-Qura, that one is currently in Mecca, and that has been one of the greatest of all Islamic universities that we have contemporarily. And he schooled over there, and that was where he graduated, and he said he has been impacted by the manhaj, the methodology of the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Like we said, it is not a sect. You have to always repeat this. It's not a sect just like we have other sects. It's not a sect. It's a methodology based on the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then the companions, those who were there before these verses were revealed, and then during their time these verses were revealed, and they had a very fine understanding of this concept. So it is a conceptual methodology based on the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that source is from the Kitab, that is the Quran. So this is actually the he has been impacted by this methodology when he was in this Jamia, and then he's saying that I have always focused on the fact that I want to call Muslims towards or going or returning back to the Kitab, that is the Quran, and then the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, and that is the authentic narrations, authentication traditions of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He's saying that fi umuri dunyahim or fi umuri dinihim, in the acts of their religion, meaning in religious practices, he has always focused on calling people towards the Kitab and then the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then he says that ala manhaj as-salaf wa tarkul bid'ah, and then at the same time, as he calling people towards the Kitab, that's the book of Allah, and then the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, at that same moment, he's trying to also let people to have what? Wave their memory and mindset from what? Innovation into the religion. Meaning, anything that is actually innovation into the religion, he tried to wave your memory and mindset from that thinking as well. So he says that, well, khurafat and all form of deviation, not just innovation into religion, but negative ideologies that also comes contemporarily. He tried to also speak against that. But like we said, the manhaj of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah is to speak against it with all seriousness, but not to see the outcome of the event happening at their time. Because the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ himself was told by Allah, فَإِمَّا نُرِيَنَّكَ بَعْضَ الَّذِي نَعِدُهُمْ أَوْ نَتَوَفَّيَنَّكَ فَإِلَيْنَا تُرْجَعُونَ. That as to whether you conveying the message you are supposed to convey, but the outcome of the event is not for you, it's for us. The time we think people have to change is when we will change them. But then the entire affairs return back to us, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we will speak against any act. Innovation into the religion, we have to speak against that. Any form of deviation, we have to speak against that. Any form of recalcitrant behavior, we have to as well speak against that. But as to ensure people changing to do the right thing is in the affairs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is the things we have to also make clear here. فَكُنْتُ أَعْلَمَ بِأَهْلِ السُّنَّةِ وَالْجَمَاعَةِ هُمْ كُلُّ مَنْ كَانَ عَلَى ما كان عليه رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وأصحابه رضوان الله عليهم. And on that fact made me to actually understand the concept of when we say Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, they are those people who are on the methodology. Like I said, it's not a sect. So when you are counting the sect of Islamic sect, then it's even wrong for you to actually count them as one of the sect. So it's a methodology based on Kitab and Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that gives him the understanding to know that this method or this method of understanding this religion is those people are actually the people who are on the deen, on the religion, on the practices that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam happened to be on, and that of his companions. As the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself, before he demised, he affirmed and certified their sound creed. That's why he's saying that Khulafa al-Rashidin min ba'di, and then we will look at some sample of the statement here in this book. That's why I actually brought it today. Saying that Ridwanullah alladhi hum salaf hadhihi al-ummah. Now there is a need for us to make some. This, who are the salaf of hadhihi al-ummah? When we say salaf min kalimatu salafa, something that is before. Wa khalaf, and something that comes after. Fa khalafa min ba'dihim. After that, or after those people, some people came back after. So after khalaf. But then before salaf, those who are before. What do we mean by before? Those, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself, and then like them, Abu Bakr, Umar, Ali, Uthman, and then Talha, those people that you know who happened to be among the first generation, the generation that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying that khairul quruni qarni ثم الذين يلونهم ثم الذين يلونهم. That the best of all generation is my generation, and that which follows, and that which follow. What does that imply? Meaning the first 300 years. And qarn in the Arabic text, when we say qarn, it is a period of a century. A century meaning 100 years of interval. So the best of your generation is my generation, the first 100, then that which follows, and then and the one which follows. So the first 300 years is the period that we look at, we term as al-Qudama, and those who have practiced this religion. So anyone who is practicing these practices of those people at their time, and that is what we call he's on the what? Salaf methodology. Because at that time, there is no Khawarij for you to say, okay, when you want to count, they are Muslims. I don't know if you get it. They were Muslims, and then there was no any other person, because the Prophet Muhammad was the leader at the time, and no one dared to come against his method. So if they were not actually a sect, that means anyone who comes after that now becomes a sect. But those ones, the mother root is not a sect. That is the root, that is the source. I'm sure you are clear on this. That's why initially I said that it is not a sect. So when you are counting sect, then you don't even have to list them among the sect. So as-salaf. So he's saying that alladhina humus salaf. What's happening here? So that is the reason why I brought this book. It was a book that has been written, مقدمة في عقيدة السلف، تأليف دكتور عيسى عبد الله السعدي الأستاذ العقيدة بجامعة الطائف. This is actually a book that was written مقدمة, meaning the introduction or an introductory literature based on the Aqeedah, based on the creed of the Salaf, those people we have just explained about them. And who are those? He wrote this book in a very summarized form, and then I want to just use this time to read something brief, because most of our references we would come back to check them in this book. But before that, there is a need for you to know the book. He started by saying, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, wa salatu wa salam ala Sayyid al-Mursaleen, wa ala alihi wa ashabihi al-Ajma'een. أما بعد فهذه مقدمة في عقيدة السلف كتبتها بطريقة علمية الميسرة. That in Alhamdulillah, that all praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and peace and salutation of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, his household, his companions, and all of those who has followed their righteous path to the day of accountability. And he said that after that, he says that فَهَذِهِ مُقَدِّمَةٌ, this is an introductory literature that has been written based on the Aqeedah, the methodology of the Salaf. He said كَتَبْتُهَا بِطَرِيقَةٍ عِلْمِيَّةٍ, I wrote it based on academic what? Perspective, meaning it wasn't just written anyhow, it was written based on academic perspective, muyassara, in a very easy way. وَرَعَاتُ فِيهَا قَدْرَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُ تذكير على أهم أصول والمسائل التي ينبغي أن يعرفها طالب العلم بين يدي هذا العلم الشريف وقد جعلتها في 3 أبواب. He says that I also tried to summarize the book into 3 categories, meaning the book entirely is being classified under 3 categories, and then in a very simplified manner that it is needed for every student of knowledge to have understand the concept within that text. And that is saying that the first one, في مبدأ علم العقيدة, the principles, the basic principle upon which creed Aqeedah is being built upon. وهي المعنى العقيدة, the meaning of Aqeedah, وموضوعها, and then sub-themes that is needed to be understood when in terms of Aqeedah, وأسماؤها, and then other names that you can use as what to represent Aqeedah, وأهميتها, and then it's important. And saying that والثاني, the second one, في خصائص فرقة الناجية, and then the uniqueness of the فرقة الناجية. Who are those? The فرقة الناجية, as the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu, even in this book we come to look at it. Similarly in this one too, it has captured that. Those who the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says that عليكم بسنتي وسنة الخلفاء الراشدين. الخلفاء الراشدين الذين أتوا من بعد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ويتدينون على دين رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Those who actually came after the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم and then they are on his path. That is briefly it. So what are the unique features of this individual? And those are termed as the firqatun najiyah, the successful firqa, meaning the successful methodology that if anyone is on it, then we are hoping that the person is actually on the right path. وتحت هذا الباب ثلاثة مباحث. That under this second portion, the second category, there are three different what? Mabahis, research that has been made on that. And he says that the first one, تعيين الفرقة الناجية وذكر أسمائهم. The uniqueness of the firqat al-najiyah, the successful group, وذكر أسمائهم, and other names that they have. وصفات فرقة الناجية, and their qualities and features. وأسباب خروج عن عقيدة السلف, and then the reasons why people are expelled out of this successful group. And saying that is the third one. I'm sure you understand it. He said the book is in three categories. The first one he mentioned, and then the second one, under it there were three, and we just mentioned. Now we are going to the third one. I'm sure I'm clear on this. He's saying that fi adillatil aqeedah, upon which basis are we using to actually establish creed? What it means as what? The creed. وَتَحْتَ هَذَا ثَلَاثَةُ مَبَاحِث. And under these two, there are three different research that has been made on that. The first one is adillatul aqeedah in the salaf, the establishment of evidence when it comes to the firqatul najiyah or the salaf, when they are establishing their evidence, upon what did they use to actually establish evidences. It says that وَظَاهِرَةُ التَّقْدِيمِ عَلَى الْعَقْلِ, and what is supposed to have been precede your common sense as well. You know, it's not anything, or in Islam there's a need for us to understand anything that is sound-minded individual with a sound heart, with an authentic nusus, Quran and Sunnah. There is no way you can have contradiction in between this. We have to utter that general base. There is no way. If you don't have the understanding to you, then that means that the issue is coming from you. You have limited understanding, and that is what? The fact that as a human being, there is no way you can have the total understanding of everything. So there is the need for you to make the nas, that is the kitab and sunnah, to precede your common sense. That's basically what we need to do. And he said here's the والأصول التي أفضت إمهال المعظم النقل, and then the usul, the basic fundamental principle that is needed, or that has seek to explain the entire concept on the fact that there is the need for us to put aside common sense. It's two different things. We have to understand that. In order to let the common sense to be what? To precede, we are not actually onto that. And what would aid us to do that? This is the second point discussing that. And now he says that the next one is inkaru dalalatu al-aqeedah fil aql, and then speaking against on everything that also says that your mindset should always precede. If this doesn't make sense, for example, we say Allah actually on 1/3 of every night he descends. Now you ask, so if he descends, then what is above him now? Because it doesn't make sense now to you, your common sense. We say Allah is above everything. There is nothing above Allah. And we said again that that at the 1/3 of every night Allah descends. Yanzil Rahman, the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He descends on this for the last heavens. Does that mean that there is something above Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Amma yaquluna uluwan zalimina uluwan kabira. That he is actually glorified from this negativity and lack of completeness. What we mean is that it is ala ma yaliqu bi jalalihi. He descends, the descendant that is actually depicting or defeating his majesty. That is the only way. And then now ta'wil al-batil, a negative explanation and exposition of the Quran verse and the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You have some people who try to interpret it wrongly. How do we counter these people? You know, if someone is doing something, there's the need for you to have a correct evidence to be able to counter that person. How are you doing that? And that is the need for us to really dwell on this book. And then he says that al-istidlal bil-muta'athir duna al-hukm mutashabiha, al-istidlal bil-mutashabiha duna al-muhkam. The fact that people also, Allah even said in Surah Al-Imran, chapter 3 of the Quran, that the kitab, the Quran that we have mutashabiha, things that you, not as a student of knowledge, when you see them the first time, it seems or it tries to bring some confusion in your mind set, which are not actually known to everyone. That's why he's saying that alladhina الراسخون في العلم, those who are well versed in the knowledge, they are aware of these. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the best of all knower of this part. Wal-muhkam. And those who also says that we need to only establish muhkam and not mutashabi, these ones are also spoken against with all aggressiveness. وَقَدْ فِي sunnah. And then there's the need for us to abridge and then embrace sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and saying that Wallahu al-muwafiq wal-hadi ila sawa'i sabil, and that is Allah is the one who guides people to the right path. So briefly, that is the aqeedah of Ahl Sunnah based on what we have discussed here. But honestly, we will go into deep to understand all of these things we have said based on evidence, because since I started, I've not mentioned any evidence that supports this. It's just from the book. So we come to look at evidences that support that based on Kitab and Sunnah. So he's saying that Alladina, so we are going back to the book. Alladina hum usalaf hadhihi al-ummah ijtama'u ala al-haq as-sarih min kitabillahi wa sunnati rasulih sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He's saying that those who have confined themselves only on the what? The sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and his ashab, and then the book of Allah, that is the kitab. ثُمَّ ظَهَرَ لِي. Now it comes to tell you the reason why he wrote this book. Saying that ثُمَّ ظَهَرَ لِي بِأَنَّ قَدْ تَطَرَّقَ إِلَى أَذْهَانِ بَعْضِ الْمُسْلِمِينَ عِدَّةِ مَفَاهِيمِ حَوْلَ جَمَاعَةِ أَهْلِ السُنَّةِ وَالْجَمَاعَةِ. Then I seem to have had the understanding, based on where he lived and all of that, he seemed to have the understanding that among the believers, among the Muslims, there are some people who have a negative understanding or misconception or lack of complete understanding of the Aqeedah Ahl-Sunnah wal-Jama'ah. So there is a need for him to write something to explain the right Aqeedah of this Ahl-Sunnah wal-Jama'ah. That is the Aqeedah to Salaf. I hope you understand the point. So he thinks that there are some people who have the misconception as to when we say Ahl-Sunnah, who are they? People have misconception about this. So he thinks that there is the need for us to him to write something. And that is what is being done. Like I was discussing to some people even this morning in terms of when you have featured something that needs to be understood by your generation and generation yet to come, there is a need for you to document it so that history will record that. That is what he has done. We ask Allah to grant him success and then good health and long life as well. So he says that وَمِنْ هَذِهِ الْمَفَاهِيمِ مَا هُوَ الْحَقِّ وَالصَّوَابِ. He's saying that among these understanding or misconceptions that people have, among them are the right ones and that which is correct. And then he's saying that وَمَا كَمَنْ عَلَيْهِ أَصْحَابِهِ مِنْ عَقِيدَتِهِ كَمَنْ, sorry, I think I'm almost jumping. من هذه المفاهيم ما هو حق وصواب كمن يرى بأن أهل السنة والجماعة هم كل من كان على ما كان عليه رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. That among these understanding are among those who think that the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, they are those who are on the Aqeedah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and then the Sahaba, his companions. And then he says that وَمَا كَانَ عَلَيْهِ أَصْحَابُ عَقِيدَةِ الصَّحِيحَةِ وَأَعْمَالِ الصَّالِحَةِ مُوَافِقٍ لِكِتَابِ اللَّهِ وَسُنَّتِهِ. And those people who are actually on doing the right things and then desisting themselves from that which is wrong. And then he says that Sunnah, he's saying فَهَذَا الْفَهَمْ صَحِيحٍ وَصَوَابٍ مُوَافِقٍ لِلْحَقِّ. That if you have the understanding of the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, the methodology of the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah as to those who are on the Kitab, following the Kitab, the Quran that has been revealed to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, indeed the authentic ones, those who have been authenticated, and then the madhab of Salaf, those who were there, among them Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, Umar radiallahu anhu, Ali radiallahu anhu, Usman radiallahu anhu, Talha, and all of them, Ridwanullah alayhim ajma'in. Allah have mercy on them and may He be pleased with them all. Those who are actually inclining to this path, if you think that an Ahl Sunnah is the person who is on this methodology, then that your misconception is not actually a misconception, that is a right thought. I hope I'm clear. If that is what is in your mind, then that is the right thought. And he's saying that وَمِنْ هَذِهِ الْمَفَاهِيمِ أَيْضًا مَا هُوَ خَطَأ وَالْبَاطِلِ. And then among these misconceptions are those which are wrong and incorrect. He's saying that وَمِنْ تِلْكَ الْمَفَاهِيمِ الْبَاطِلَةِ. Among these negative misconceptions that people think Ahl Sunnah are as follows. If you don't understand, kindly let me know. Because we are in the introduction, that's why I'm actually in a rush like that. So, if you think an Ahl Sunnah are those who are actually just by this thing we are to list, then the misconception is actually a wrong misconception. But then the first one that we have discussed, those who are on the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, Aqeedah to Salaf, and then the Kitab, the Quran, and then they are righteous, good individual, then that misconception is the right one. But those who are actually thinking that Ahl Sunnah are those who have this, it's not enough for you to classify someone as an Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah just by seeing him portraying this following thing we are supposed to go through. The first one, he says that كَمَنْ يَرَى كُلُّ مَنْ عَفَى لِحْيَتَهُ وَقَصَرَ ثَوْبَهُ وَتَحَجَّبُ زَوْجَتَهُ بِالْحِجَابِ الشَّرْعِيَّةِ فَهُوَ السُّنِّي بِغَضِّ النَّظَرِ عَلَى عَقِيدَتِهِ. That it is wrong for you to have in mind that Ahl Sunnah are those who have their beards. You know, some people, the beard, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ had a thick beard, as it is reported. Abu Bakr, Umar, these people have the beard. If you think that anyone who has lived his beard, practicing that beard, then that one enough, or alone is not enough. That one alone is not enough. And then that man qassara sawbahu, and anyone his shirt is also hanging. Here he is referring to men. You know, the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, very authentic, that has been narrated from him. He's saying that ma asfala min al-ka'bayn fa fin nari. Anything that goes below the ankle is in hellfire. This is the hadith. So if you actually get up and straight, you see your ankle, your shirt need to be above your ankle. It shouldn't go below that. So that's why the Prophet ﷺ says that anything that goes beyond that is what? Going to be what? Burnt in hellfire. So that is why the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah are making theirs to be above. But for the ladies, theirs have to what? Be on the floor and even drag, regardless of wherever the place is. Don't ask me if it is a muddy environment. She can move away from that. And that is the discussion that has been agreed upon. If she moves through the muddy, when she gets to the dry land, it is a purification to where she has passed through. We ask Allah to grant her success. This is actually a fiqh. We are not discussing fiqh here. So it's referring to men who have made their thawb, their shirt, to be hanging and leaving their beard. So he's telling you that if you see someone leaving his beard with his shirt hanging, that one enough is not a criteria to really judge the person to be Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Because another, not looking at his Aqeedah. And then he's saying that alladhi yatahajjab zawjatahu. And then he who also would make his wife to use the hijab. You know hijab? Hijab, not niqab. He said hijab. Niqab is an addition. If you add it, no harm on that. But here he's saying hijab. Because Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, as a Muslim, you need to make your wife, just like we have started to discuss, should cover herself from up to down. Only her waist and then her palm should be seen, and then the round face. But then her foot also have to be covered. And that is the most correct opinion that is needed to be understood. So, if you see someone leaving his beard, hanging his shirt, protecting or covering his wife from A to Z, that one is not enough for you to just say that this person is an Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. بغض النظر على بغض النظر عن عقيدته, without actually trying to scrutinize his creed. He's saying that وَهَذَا فَهْمٌ خَطَأ وَالْبَاطِلِ. Anyone who have this as anyone who leave his shirt hanging, beard, covering his wife and his daughters, this one, if that is the only criteria that he used to judge that this person is Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, then this is a negative misconception which is wrong and it needs to be dropped. And saying that لأن هذه الصفة قد اتصف بها من ليس من عقيدة أهل السنة والجماعة كبعض الصوفية. That because this thing that we have actually discuss hanging your shirt like mine is, and with the beard, as I don't have thick beard. Hmm? As I don't have thick beard, my beard is not there. You ask Allah to grant us beard. Amen. So briefly, that is it. So if you have it, that is fadl min Allah. But if you don't have it, that doesn't also make you not. So we are talking about you getting it off. And now he's saying that, and covering your wife too. If you made your wife to be covered and then you are wearing something short and then you are actually having beard, that one is not enough, because even Sufiya, if you know Sufiya, just type Sufism, you get to read a lot of information about Sufism, as in Sufism. You get to understand that is what we call Sufism. Among them are around us and all of that. But if you have not just got an in-depth knowledge about it, then you misconcept everyone, or you misconceive to have had negative understanding on that. So what we are saying is that even this Sufiya, they are also practicing hanging shirts, beard, covering their wives, but that doesn't make them Aqeedah Ahl-Sunnah. So meaning that misconception that you have might be wrong. وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَفْهَمْ بِأَنَّ كُلُّ مَنْ لَا يَذْكُرُ الْأَوْرَادِ الصوفية ولا يقيم بعدة المعالم التي تتخذ بعد الموت الميت فهو السني. And then again, anyone who thinks that Ahlul Sunnah is a person that who doesn't sit in the masjid, sometimes they have a place where they will go and sit and then surround themselves in a circular manner and then get a white sheet or white cloth and spread it. Do you understand? If you don't know, just go. Tomorrow is when? Yesterday was Friday. Fridays, on other days, you can see in some masjid, people will be seated in a circular format and then with a whitish cloth that is being spread. And then they have a lot of what? Creed pertaining that. They will tell you that a lot of things. We don't want to start dancing before the actual dance. I said we don't want to start dancing before the actual dance, because we will come on a sub-topic that discusses these people. But here we are just making isharat. We are making just demonstration to know those people. So anyone who you think is not doing that is not qualified to be Ahlul Sunnah. Do you understand? So if you see someone speaking against it, just by speaking against that doesn't make the person automatic Ahlul Sunnah or Jama'ah. And he says that, again, anyone who also doesn't sit 40 days after the death of any person. For example, you have within your family someone who has passed away, and then you sit for 3 days, you sit for 7 days, you sit for 10 days, you sit for 40 days, and even sit for 1 year anniversaries. This is what? Bid'ah in the religion. So if you think that anyone who is not practicing this is an Ahlul Sunnah, just by that is also what? A misconception, which is wrong. Meaning, Ahlul Sunnah don't do that. But anyone who doesn't do that doesn't actually, or doesn't make that person automatic Ahlul Sunnah. I don't know if I'm clear here. The weird, that tasbih that they sit and be doing with that white clothes. If someone who is not doing that, and anyone who is not doing that we have just mentioned in terms of taking some of the days, doesn't really make the person Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Automatically not doing it doesn't automate you based on that. So he says that, where are we? He's saying that min hadhihi sifat. وهذه الفهم خطأ والباطل لأنه يوجد من يتصف بهذه الصفة من ليسوا من أهل السنة والجماعة كالقاديانية. Why? Because you have some people who don't also do the wird. You don't sit in the masjid to do it. Likewise, if they have their relative passing away, they don't also sit for what? 10 days, 40 days, 1 year, and all of that anniversary. Why? Because even the Qadiyaniyah, who are those Qadiyaniyah? They are popularly known as the Ahmadiyya, the Ahmadis, in other words. That's why I say, in other words, we'll come to even look at. That's why I say we don't want to start the dance before the actual dance. We'll come to look when we say Qadiyaniyah, who are those? Ahmadiyya, and then those people who are into that. And like we said, we'll come to even see other. So these people, this Qadiyaniyah, they don't also sit within the masjid with that wird, without white clothes. Also, they don't celebrate that anniversary of 40 days anniversary, 1 year anniversary of a dead person. That doesn't make them Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Do you now understand the point? So they not doing doesn't make them in Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. That's why we are trying to look at them one at a time. So Al-Qadiani and Qadianiya is a place. Qadian is a name of a certain mantiqa. It's a place that is currently there. We would come to look at that. Qadianiya, those who are hailing from there, and they have the creed that it is a places where Wahy is being revealed. At the same time, they believe that Ahmad bin Ghulam is actually a Messiah. Who is the Messiah to them? Their definition. We would come to look at that. And here we always say that the person who knows and has knowledge about it and is practicing that, that is the person that we want to discuss here. Not any person who maybe by accident happen to have guided himself within the community and he's also practicing that practices. So we need to actually differentiate between this stuff. Now, he's saying that وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَرَى أَنَّ مَذْهَبَ أَهْلِ السُنَّةِ هو كل من يكفر المسلمين بلا ضوابط التكفير التي وضعها علماء المسلمين. Allahu Akbar. He says that again, anyone who also think that Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah are those who subject people to disbelief without any supportive evidence, concrete evidence. Anyone who subject people to disbelief and say these people are disbelievers, these people are disbelievers. If you see people doing that without a strong dawabit, evidence backing their claim, then that doesn't make those people Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Because indeed, Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, if you are a kafir, there's no way they should keep quiet on that. They have to let you know the action that you are practicing is an act of kufr. There's the need for us to say that. But then, you saying that without dawabit, without evidence that back your claim, doesn't make you an Ahl Sunnah. I don't know if I'm actually on point here. So he says that dawabit al-sharia alladhi wada'aha ulama. He's saying that وَبِعِبَارَةٍ أُخْرَى, in other words, مَنْ يُكَفِّرْ مُرْتَكِبٍ كَبَائِرٍ مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. And then in other words, anyone who sees that any perpetrator of the 7 destructive evil deeds is a kafir. This one too is actually a manhaj which is wrong. It's not Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Meaning, you know, the Prophet Muhammad has listed some people or some acts. He's saying that ijtanibu sab'a mubiqat, that distance yourself from the 7 great grievous destructive sins. And he listed them. Among them is shirk, as-sihr, and then al-qazaf, tawalla yawm al-dhahab. We have them a lot. There are 7 of them. So anyone who is practicing shirk, does that make that person a kafir at the spot? Or is an ignorant person who even doesn't know what he is doing? We need to understand that. Anyone who commits zina, for example, is not a kafir. Anyone who consumes alcohol does not make it automatic kafir. So anyone who also tawalla yawm al-dhahab, anyone who may be at the war front among the Muslimin and the kuffar, he turned away and ran away for the Muslims to be attacked. This one is among the grievous sins that the Prophet ﷺ has also listed. Anyone who has also done that is not an automatic kafir, disbeliever in other words. So, but the Khawarij is saying that fahamun mutakibun kabair fahum min ahl sunnah. Anyone who thinks that subjecting perpetrators of these 7 evil is a kafir, is not an Ahl Sunnah. Do you understand? If you think anyone who is actually engaged in just a normal sihr out of ignorance, any person who is actually consuming alcohol, for example, a zani, someone who is an adulterer or fornicator, and then someone who is also what? Backbiter and slander, doesn't make this person a kafir. Just that he is what? Murtakabun kaba'ir. He is among those who are what? Committing grievous destructive sins. But Ahl Sunnah don't actually subject these people to what? Disbelief. But which people do that? He says that فَهَذَا فَهَمُ الْخَطَأ وَالْبَاطِلِ لِأَنَّ هَذِهِ هُوَ عَيْنُ مَذْهَبِ الْخَوَارِجِ الَّذِينَ ظَهَرُوا عَلَى زَمَنِ عَلِيِّ بن أبي طالب رضي الله تعالى عنه في صفوف المسلمين وكفروا عليا ومن معه. Those who are actually perpetrating this fact, we have some time. Tomorrow we have class. Inshallah, we'll get a place to stop, right? That anyone who is also saying that Murtakabun Kaba'ir, anyone who is perpetrating this evil that we have listed is among a kafir, then this is not an Ahl Sunnah, this is a Khawarij. And Khawarij are those who actually came up, they propelled themselves from the what? The Muslim parade, meaning the parade of the Muslim. They actually came out from that parade, and then it was the time of Ali radiallahu anhu. And who is Ali? He is the fourth Khalifa after the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. After who? Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, Umar radiallahu anhu, Uthman radiallahu anhu, and then Summa Ja'i Ali radiallahu anhum wa radu an. So these people, the Khawarij, they came at the time of Ali radiallahu anhu, and in fact they even said Ali himself is a disbeliever, and they were those who killed him and those who were with him. It is a very lengthy story. If you look at the Sahih Muslim, there is a hadith that has digressed it in a very detailed discussion. We ask Allah to grant us success. So those who are doing this, anyone is a disbeliever, anyone is a disbeliever. These are not Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. They are Khawarij. Khawarij meaning those who would come out from the parade of the Muslims. The understanding, the methodology of the Muslims, those who come out from that parade, then these are the what? Khawarij. And those people started to have come from the people at the time of who? Ali radiallahu anhu. And he said that فَكَيْفَ يَكُونَ الْخَوَارِجْ هُمَا أَهْلِ السُنَّةِ. Now the author is questioning you that how can a Khawarij be a Ahl Sunnah? Meaning don't even allow your mind, just by saying someone preaching and say these people are kuffar, these people are kafir, these people are disbelievers, and then think that no, this person must be Ahl Sunnah, that's why it's hot. No, that doesn't make the person Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Can we proceed? So you see, we are on the third one, but honestly, let's see this one and see what we can do on that. ومنهم من يرى أن كل مسلم سني ما دام يستقبل القبلة فهو فاهم الخطأ والباطل لأن that anyone, listen to this, if you think that anyone who faces the Qibla is an Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, then it's also what? A negative misconception. You have to what? Discard it. فهو فهم الخطأ والباطل لأن القاديانية, for indeed the Qadianiyya that we just said about them, هم يصلون لكن كفروه المسلمون فضلا أن يكونوا من أهل السنة. That if you think that people who face the Qibla in prayer are all Ahl Sunnah, then that is what? Wrong. Because even Qadianiyya that we just mentioned, they are also facing the what? Qibla while praying. However, they have been what? Subjected to disbelief by the consensus of ulama. That's why we have said it here. So the Qadianiyya, they are not actually Muslims. Per what we have seen here, that's why in the yusalluna lakin kafaruhum al-muslimuna fadlan an yakunu min ahli sunnah. They are even disbelievers, not talking about Muslim, talking about Ahl Sunnah, not talking about Salaf. I hope you understand. So Al-Qadianiyya, despite the fact that they are facing the Qibla praying, you go to their mosques or their churches that they call mosques, doesn't really make them the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَرَى قَبْلَ أَنْ تَكُونَ أَهْلِ السُنَّةِ لَابُدَّ أَنْ تَسْجِلْ نَفْسَكَ إِسْمَكَ فِي جَمَاعَةِ. So here this one too is discussing about the fact that people also think that Ahl Sunnah are those, before you can become an Ahl Sunnah, you need to go and register yourself so that you can be part of a repository. No. Wherever you are individually, you think that the Quran is what should be abided by. The Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is what is to be abided by. Under the understanding of the Salaf, automatically you are Ahl Sunnah. You don't have to come and confess and then get yourself join any team. Like I told you, it's not a team. It's not what? A sect. It's not any group that has been captured. No. It is actually a methodology. Wherever you are and practicing it, automatically it has made you part of that. I hope you understand. So here we would pause And then, inshallah, our next sitting, we will discuss the fifth but last point on the first introduction of this book. We ask Allah to grant us success. That which we have said in terms of correctness, we ask Allah to make it recorded in our Mizan al-Haq, al-Hasanat. That which we have said in terms of what? Error, out of slip of tongue, we ask Allah to actually overlook that. Now, alayhi salam. A small. Now, of this. Now, the brother is suggesting that the time that we use for this Aqeedah class and other stuff, it is a very limited time. So he's suggesting that we should actually pray around 7:45 instead of the 7:30. That's what he's suggesting. Maybe we'll discuss to see, because it is a Jama'ah, we need to look at the consensus of the people so that we can be able to have that being put into practice so that it would benefit us all. Yes, indeed, it's a very limited time. It's very, very limited. But that is what Allah has made it to have for now. So maybe subsequently, if you have any discussion that needs for us to extend it, then why not, inshallah. Is there any other question now? Alaikum salam now. Now, said in prayer. Now, the husband. Now, Baba is asking that, is it advisable for what we have been seeing around your married day, you come and sit with, like the Asante, there is a stool that they go and hide. You are sitting here and your wife is also sitting in the wedding gown or even in hijab. And then there is some admonishment that is being said. Is it advisable? It is not advisable. Why is it not advisable? You, the man, can have the admonishment from the ulam of from the imam of the community who is actually initiating or tying the knot. But it is not a criteria, or it is not even advisable for the wife to do a display for public view. The wife is supposed to have been covered for you as the husband and not for public exhibition. So the ideal thing is that yesterday, like we even mentioned, among the time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, someone can get married 3 days, 2 days down the line, and then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would ask, "I've stopped seeing you for some days now. What happened?" And the person will tell him that I got married last 2 days. What is the implication to this? It means that, and if there is anything that needs to be gathered and then some grants, whatever, it should have been in the masjid of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he will be the one to initiate that. So the marriage is that when you have a trust person who is, in terms of knowledge, alhamdulillah, Allah has granted him, and then he has been, people have the trust in him as the imam of the community, then you go and see him, Imam, this is the person that I want to get married, this is the family, this is my family, everything will be initiated. The wa'azi, that admonishment that is being said, it's not anything that is sunnah. The sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, after the thing that is supposed to be given out as a bride, after it has been received, the khutbah of the imam, the prayer, and that ends it. Automatically, even if there are two people who are the witness over there, then that is enough. So it is not even advisable. And the reason why I know of sure, I wasn't there by then, 50 years back, this is not the marriage admonishment that we used to have. They don't wear these wedding gowns. But because they have opened the door, there could be for advice, there could be some wazi, there could be some admonishment, and that is what is leading us to where we are getting to, slow but sure. Now, wallahi, even if you want to affirm to this fact, tomorrow is Sunday, right? Just get yourself, just run around the Zongo community. You would have a picture of what I'm to describe it here. A wedding gown that you think a wedding gown is. Tomorrow is Sunday. It's yet to happen. This is a prophecy, not a prophecy, but we are saying something that is real. Okay? It's not a prophecy, but this is something that is happening. Just go tomorrow. Just have your time and then move around. You will see people. The Zongo communities, I mean. You will see people dressed in their wedding gown just like the Christians do. With transparent lace, with makeup, with what have you, like she want to fly. This is something that is not Islam. So there's the need for us to abandon it completely. So the admonishment can be said in the masjid closely and everything is being done. Now, now, seeing around. Now, 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 now. Fridays. Now. For prayer. 10 marriages. Allah Akbar. Masjid. Now. Than those Fridays or Saturdays. Fridays or Saturdays. It's on Sundays and Saturdays. You bring together. So that is what, and do you know the dangers about this? The dangers about it is that these kids, they have not seen the original one. So when they come to meet this, they would use this as what they have come to meet. So it will be very difficult for you to be able to get their mind out of that. So that is why there's the need for us to speak against that when they are here and then establish this based on evidence. So it is not something that we need to. You can get your married on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. There is no day you cannot get your. In fact, just like even after prayer like this, like I said yesterday, we are repeating, a marriage can be initiated on the Wednesday, on Thursday, on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Every day is an opening day for you to be able to. But now it has been only stipulated only on Saturday and Sunday, and elsewhere, like he said, on Fridays. So you can see that if you are even trying to organize yours aside these days, people might even PM you to discuss with you. Do you think people will come? You ask the people, do you think I'm also inviting people? That's the only way to go. Yes. If someone starts from a certain point, you also have to start. When you all become normal, then you discuss it. That's Allah to grant us success. Because it's happening. And that is why most of us are affected. You are unable to marry because there is a picture of a correct marriage in your mind. If you don't get it, you can't marry. So you stay the way you are till whenever Allah would grant you. We ask Allah to grant us success. So here I think we have to call it a. You have a question?
A brother of mine in the house sidelined his dad and the whole of his family and went on to initiate the marriage with the lady. Honestly, the father went to see the lady. I don't know whether they met each other online or something. So the very day now that he took his photo went to the place for them to know each other. Fortunately enough on this side, the parents agreed that they should just go on with the marriage just like that. So I think the father even had to request for some more money in the house. So they said whether he paid it down. He didn't go with anyone on this side to serve as witnesses to the wedding whatever. So he just went just like that. And then the whole marriage was initiated. The girl became an husband. But he didn't have any witnesses on his side to stand for the marriage. So said marriage, is it valid? Or it isn't?
Yes.
At the moment, just this coming 25th of this month is when they are going to hold the party of that particular wedding. And the party is going to even be held at the lady's hometown.
No.
So after the whole thing is over, then you now transfer yourself out to the high community. I don't know. So you said marriage is valid. That's my first question.
Yes, he's asking that. So for those who have not heard the question, he's asking that someone sideline their parent. First of all, you need to understand what sideline means here.
Not, the thing is, he ignored everyone from the equation. He didn't consult people about it.
He didn't consult people about
Yeah,
it.
they just went on. So he
Yes,
did the marriage. Even his closest brothers, but he didn't tell them.
he
He just
didn't
went
tell.
on to do
So
whatever.
it could be as a result of multiple reasons, either personal, religious, or any other thing. But what is apparent is that he has not consulted anyone and he went ahead. As to whether the marriage is valid or not, yes, the marriage is valid because he's a man. A man would stand in position to get married to himself. That's why your dad can be at 60 or 40 years or 50 years and he want to add the last wife. Does he want to consult you as a son? Does he go to consult his mother? Maybe she's even dead. Does he consult? No. So the marriage is valid. But what we are saying is that it is advisable to go and look and understand the character and then understand holistically the person's character. I hope you understand. However, that marriage is actually a valid marriage. It's a valid marriage. Now, Allah Alam on that. Now, the passing away of the relative. Now, what is the yes? He says that if you happen to have your relative passing away, what is the Islamic way to actually observe the scene and all of that? First of all, let me know first, if it is the process to prepare the person to burial and then after that what is supposed to be done, or just after the burial and you are home, what is supposed to be done? After the burial. Good. So he's asking after the burial and then you come home and all of that. So if it is actually a lady that her husband has passed away, then Allah has decreed a verse in Quran chapter 2 that she will sit indoors for 4 months, 10 days. 4 months, 10 days. Initially, it used to be 1 year. Initially, in the same verses are actually in the Quran, in the same surah, chapter 2 of the Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah. Initially, a verse that came says that widows, women are supposed to be in their, after the demise of their husband, they are supposed to be in the room for 1 year. إِلَى الْحَوْلِ غَيْرَ إِخْرَاجٍ. To 1 year without movement away and then just like a normal movement. Later on a verse came to say that abrogating the first verse, says that she has to be 40 days and 10 days. And that is how many? 4 months, 4 months and 10 days. Afwan, 4 months and 10 days. 4 months and 10 days, not 40 days, not 40 months. 4 months and 10 days. 4 months and 10 days. And then the person would have to be indoors for that purpose. And issues of abrogation, and if you look at the chronological format of the verse, a verse that comes after must be the one we should practice, not the one that comes first. I hope you understand. If A or B comes negating the ruling in A, then we would work with B, not working with A. It is knowledge we call ilmune an-nasikh wal-mansukh. Knowledge of abrogation. It happened in the Quran, it happened in the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So if you look in the verse of the Quran, you see that the one we are rather practicing is the first one. In terms of what? Arrangement. Listen to this, I'm repeating. In terms of arrangement, the one we are practicing 40 days, 4 months, 10 days, 4 months, 10 days is the one that came first in terms of the chronological arrangement of the verses. So I asked my Sheikh Abdul Razak Ilbawa, he is currently living. I asked him, based on the knowledge of abrogation, the ruling that comes first need to be sidelined and then we go by the second one. And he's saying that when the verses were revealed, the one that came last was the one which was first. So here you may ask, so how do we arrange the Quran? That's the reason why there is the need for you to join the class of Mubahis fi Ulum al-Quran that we have it here in the morning. Saturday and Sunday. Allah Akbar. So you get to understand Quran, compilation of the Quran and rulings that is actually attending to that. So for the woman, this is Sharia wise. She has to be there for 4 months, 10 days. So not the 1 year again. The 1 year is gone, it's abrogated. So relative can then come inside, greet her and all of that. She's not supposed to dress with a very nice dress with perfume and all of that and then make her hair attractive to other men for that period of time. And this is Sharia Islamically. You as a family, within that time period of what? Calling the janais, people who can come and then greet you. And that is what we call ta'ziyah. Ta'ziyah in the Arabic text. People trying to come to express their condolence to your grief, the grief family within the period. So that one, maybe these people from maybe Ejiso would come today. Those who are actually coming the next day, depending on at their own discretion, they want to come. If they don't come and meet you at home, it's not anything. But if they call you to prompt you, they could even call you to actually express their condolence. So there's no specific days, specific weeks, specific number of years and months just designated for you to be organizing, and something is even coming forth. People on their 40 days, they would organize a Quran recitation. This is bid'ah. They will organize, after the 1 year, they will organize another Quran recitation as a what? Prayer to the disease. No, the disease need your prayer every day. I hope you understand. So that is how you're supposed to go by that. However, families and relatives that are actually within your neighborhood and even from outskirts would come and then say, express their condolence to the grief family and all of that. And we don't have a period for that. But you as a family, organizing a get-together, cooking and all of that, and sitting and waiting or stipulated date that has been fixed for that, this is actually innovation. It doesn't have room in the religion. We ask Allah to grant us success. I'm sure you are clear on that now. Now. The special prayer is before you are going to get bury the person. That's why I was asking as to whether we should start from that. The special prayer of the Mayyit is the special prayer. In fact, we're hoping within this weekend the video will also be ready for online display. You go and look at Salat al-Janaiz description we described there briefly. So for those who are not here, what happened is that there is 2 rakats that is needed to be said in terms of what? Prayer of the janaiz on the corpse or the dead person. You are supposed to do the 4 takbir. The first one, just like the first one, the dua al-istiftah, and then Fatiha, and then Salat al-Nabi, and then the last one, prayer. Or even with that, the Salat al-Nabi, you can follow it with the Allahumma gfir lahu warhamhu wa'afi wa'afhanhu wa'akrim nuzulahu wa'wassi mudkhalahu wa'ghsilhu bil ma'i wal thalj wal barad wa nakhihi min adh-dhunubi wal khataya kama yulqa ath-thawb al-abyad min ad-danas. These are the prayer that we need to know. You understand? So this is the special prayer that the Prophet ﷺ has done. But coming home, sitting for those is not any sunnah. It's for the persons to come and then meet you as a grief family to greet you. But you know, organizing something saying today is a 3 days prayer for them. No. Come again? It's bid'ah. It's innovation into the religion. So you don't have to organize it. That's why there is a need for us to introduce this book to you. We have the ideal and what is being practiced by people as well. And they doing it doesn't validate it. If the Vice Chancellor gives you an apple, does it validate the apple? No. But let me come first. So you can see that it's not supposed to be done, but someone has done it. So you know that that is a wrong act. but then the person is a sound person. I hope you understand. The person has a creed out of the resolution that the person have gotten himself. Then he has been on 3 days to organize. That is something that is actually something we call innovation into the religion. So the special prayer is when the person is being prepared for burial, and then people coming home and returning to the where the person was living, I mean his home. And then the taziyah. The taziyah is the expression of your condolence to the grieved people, those who are actually direct stakeholders to the person, and express your condolence to that person. And it's supposed to be done in a very good and then sunnatic way, not in the bid'atic way. I hope you understand. So inshallah, they do preaching. Even the preaching that is being said at the graveyard is an innovation in the religion. I hope you understand. Someone is dead, and the graveyard, that is where people will be warning against, it has become like an order, like something that people have now embraced it. When someone is dead, when they go to the graveyard for burial, that is where you have someone having a platform for da'wah, or calling people, or admonishment. This is not actually among the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. What you go to the grave, you have to go in peace, and then pray for the person there. Place of wa'azah and admonishment is where you come back and then discuss and then admonish the people in here. Not to talk of the graveyard. It's something that people are doing it. Even the international scale, you can see people doing that and publishing it. That doesn't validate it, honestly. If they have an evidence from the Quran and Sunnah, we are still waiting to see that. But yet now, we have not seen that before. So there's no way we can embrace that as Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. But if you come home within the masjid, you warn against people, you can see that this person is actually prepared for burial. This is his last. This is that and that and that. Simply done. But if you make it something that is always must be there, that is why it is becoming Sunnah. Bid'ah. That is why it is becoming what? Bid'ah, innovation into the religion. I hope you are clear on that. So inshallah, even if they would entertain, this will be the last question so that we will close, because inshallah. And before you continue, that's why I'm saying that the dangers of this contemporary wedding is that the kids, because that is what we also came and met. They are doing it. So that, because currently you are even using it as an evidence, because not you asking you, but we are using it because we have been seeing people doing it, because that is what we have seen. So that is the dangers of bid'ah. It will become and then get a place and sit, and people are now practicing it, and then hardly will you be able to approach it very easy. Let's entertain this question. I also beg you, because of this.
Not like they always call it Adwa. They always say Adwa, maybe 3 days. So that prayer is accepted by Allah.
He is asking. He is asking. He is saying that where he comes from, there is some 3 days prayer, 3 days special prayer for the dead person. But before I will discuss this, I will recommend the following book for you to go and read them. Yes. We have Ahkamul Janaiz. Ahkamul Janaiz, rules and regulation on what? Burial rights. That is being discussed. And then other books, even Umdatul Ahkam, the one we brought it here. In fact, there is Kitabul Janaiz. It has been digressed over there. If you look in Bulugh al-Maram, the Sharh of the Subul al-Salam, Sharh Bulugh al-Maram, Imam has also discussed it very fantastic over there. But now, this is reference book that I'm giving you for you to go and then look at that. But the question is asking, would Allah accept that prayer? Wallahu a'lam. As to whether would accept this prayer we are here to say, Wallahu a'lam, not to talk of that one. I hope you understand. But what we are saying is that that act is actually something that is not the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. However, if the person pray as whether he will be accepted or not, because some of them are doing, they didn't know. They think this is something that with all sincerity. I hope you understand. So if someone is doing it out of not knowing, out of ignorance, then the person does not have any sin in Islam. And that is why he's saying that وَالْخَطَأُ وَالنِّسْيَانُ وَالْإِقْرَارُ أَسْقَطَهُ مَعْبُودُنَا الرَّحْمَنِ. As he says. So anything that you have done out of mistake, not knowing, or you have been forced to do, you don't have, Allah doesn't hold you accountable for that. So most of people, they are doing it out of not knowing. Out of not knowing. So these people are not actually held accountable for that. And that is why whenever we are speaking against a specific sect, we try to let you understand we are not talking about those you have been seeing around. No, those who have knowledge into that and still practicing it. I hope you understand. These are the people we are discussing. Not someone who doesn't know, he is just within the family or within the community where he has been raised and people are practicing. This is actually an ignorant person that needs to be taught. First, we ask Allah to grant us success. So inshallah, we will meet tomorrow. Honestly, for tomorrow's lesson is a hadith lesson. We encourage everyone to come for some reasons. And it will help you a lot. If you are unable to come based on genuine reasons, to inshallah, the coverage will be there and it will be subsequently uploaded. But honestly, I'm encouraging people to come for tomorrow's class. Because all of this thing, we're saying that it is not authentic. This is authentic. Tomorrow we want to see upon which basis are establishing this. That's why we are using for that purpose. We ask Allah to grant us success. So sallallahu alaihi wasallam, subhanaka Allahumma bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah.